It was a cold evening on February 9, 2004. Snow fell gently in Haverhill, New Hampshire, covering the roads in a blanket of white. The trees, bare and tall, lined Route 112 like silent witnesses to whatever happened that night. At 7:30 p.m., a black Saturn sedan, driven by 21-year-old Maura Murray, a nursing student at the University of Massachusetts Amherst, careened off the road and crashed into a snowbank. The crash seemed minor, but it was enough to draw the attention of a local man named Butch Atwood. He was a bus driver and lived just down the road. He saw the car from a distance, its lights still on. Concerned, he drove his bus over to check on the young woman inside. She seemed shaken but not visibly injured. He asked her if she needed help, if she wanted him to call the police or get a tow truck. Maura, though polite, insisted she didn't need any help. She said she had already called AAA. It was a lie. There was no call made. Atwood, unsure, decided to go home and keep an eye on her from a distance, still uneasy about the situation. Once inside, he called the police himself. But by the time they arrived, Maura was gone. Vanished. Her car sat there, its windshield cracked, airbags deployed, and the front end dented from the crash. The car's doors were locked. Inside, her belongings were still there, her clothes, textbooks, and even a bottle of wine. Her cell phone and credit cards, however, were missing. Where could she have gone in such a short time? The road was dark and surrounded by dense woods, and the temperature was dropping fast. It was a freezing night, and Maura had no reason to be on that stretch of road. In the days leading up to her disappearance, Maura had sent an email to her professors explaining she would be taking time off due to a family emergency. There was no emergency. She had withdrawn $280 from an ATM earlier that day and bought a bottle of alcohol. Why was she leaving? Where was she going? Her father, Fred Murray, quickly arrived in New Hampshire to aid in the search. He was heartbroken and confused. There was no indication that his daughter had planned to run away. She had always been responsible and driven. Just 2 days earlier, he had spoken to her and nothing seemed out of the ordinary. Yet the more the police investigated, the more puzzling the case became. For weeks, search teams scoured the surrounding woods. Helicopters flew overhead, and bloodhounds tracked her scent, but it always stopped abruptly not far from where her car had crashed. It was as if she had simply vanished into thin air. No footprints in the snow. No trail. Nothing. People started to talk. Some speculated she had intentionally disappeared, perhaps overwhelmed by the pressures of school or life, staging the crash as a way to run away and start fresh somewhere else. Others feared the worst, believing she had been abducted by someone who saw her alone and vulnerable on that isolated road. The theories were endless. Some even believed that Maura may have succumbed to the elements, wandering off into the woods in a state of panic or intoxication, only to succumb to the freezing temperatures. But if that were the case, why had no one found her body? How could she have left no trace? The questions only grew more agonizing as the months passed. Her family, especially her father, refused to give up. Fred Murray searched tirelessly, returning to that remote area time and time again, hoping for some sign, some clue, anything that might lead him to his daughter. But nothing ever came. The media picked up on Maura's disappearance, and soon, it became one of the most infamous missing person cases in modern American history. Podcasts, television shows, and internet forums buzzed with theories. Strangers across the country tried to piece together the mystery. Some even traveled to New Hampshire, hoping to solve the case themselves. Yet with every new lead, every new theory, the truth seemed to slip further and further away. Maura's family held on to hope, but as the years went by, hope began to dwindle. Her case remains unsolved, and the road where she disappeared remains a haunting reminder of just how quickly and mysteriously someone can vanish. Was Maura running from something or someone? Did she plan to disappear that night, or was she the victim of something far more sinister? In the quiet of that New Hampshire night, with only the sound of snow crunching beneath your feet, it's easy to feel the weight of her absence, the unanswered questions hanging heavy in the air. And perhaps that's the most chilling part of all. Maura Murray didn't just disappear. She left behind a mystery that, to this day, no one can solve. A mystery that still haunts everyone who tries to find the truth.